Hi, folks. Welcome back to Whims of the Creator. I am J3 Puffin, back at it again with Gadget.
Oh yeah, green river, green earrings, green onions.
And Desmond.
Hey,
S. So hopefully spoiled. We're back on green. We're on Guitar Hero. Let's talk about this Midori. On play, look at the two cards from the top of your deck, rearrange them. No, wait, it's the Mio. Oh god, wait, this
yep,
is just Mio. Okay,
Yep.
it's
yeah.
literally Mio.
On play,
What
look
a
at the
good card.
two, choose the two from among them, rearrange them, then send any that you don't want to keep to waiting room. And on play, on death, drop search. Why do we have Aqua and Mio both in the set?
Who
Ah.
cares?
Ah.
Glad you're getting rewarded.
I mean, look, this set doesn't have standby in the same way that Hololive does. So like, there's not a lot of completely insane things you can do with this, as at least not as much as in Hololive. But like, the fact that this is in the set is like, uh, this set has this card. It's absolutely insane. And there's another card that we'll get to in like 3 slides that I want to talk about. It makes this even more playable. So, I mean, if you've been playing Weiss over the last year, you already know how ubiquitous this card is. You can like on play decide to either drop search first and then top two rearrange slash mocha if you want the information, or you can like mocha yourself first to like see if you want to re-roll those top two cards, then drop search, shuffle your deck if you're like afraid of triggering a climax or whatever. And then when she dies, you just get to search another character. You get to pull a clean card out of your deck. There are cards in the set that want the information from the top check, but yeah, other than that, it's just a good card. Not really much to say here. It's probably one of the best zeros in the deck. Although you're probably not playing 4 of it. You're probably playing like 2 or 3.
That's fair.
But yeah, card is good.
God.
Yep.
Do we need to say anything about the character Midori before we move on?
Not really. I mean, she was introduced in Guitar Hero 3, and she was pretty popular at the time. And they did originally had plans to put her in Warriors of Rock, but apparently they cut her out of the game because they felt like I guess her character herself doesn't really fit in on theme with the game. I guess, and also as well as with like how like the warrior forms were created because they're very
Hmm.
like very edgy and all that.
That's kind
Okay.
of a shame. She reminds me of Baby Metal, if you've ever heard of that.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right.
All right, anyway. Oh, I get this guy. Yes. Okay. Honestly, mad props to Desmond. I think this is the coolest card. And I know I already said that, like about the demigod, but like this is one of the coolest cards in the set. So this is Slash Rock Legend. When he's placed on stage from hand, you can heal one, and then auto climax combo with the Legends of Rock bar. On attack, you can pay one, ditch a card. If you do, he gets the color orange and lets rock, which is this replay effect. So the way replays work in Weiss Schwartz is whenever an effect tells you to do the replay skill, you just do whatever it says. So basically, when you attack, you gain the color orange, and then you do the following effect. You deal 1 damage to your opponent, and then your opponent puts the top X cards of their deck into their waiting room, where X is equal to the number of colors you have on your stage times 5. So let's say you triple this, right? And you have like let's go back and show the Marcus threat shredder, right? So the Marcus says if you have the Shirley Crowley on stage, he gains the color blue. So the Marcus is now yellow and blue. The Shirley is green, and the Slash is green and orange. So with those cards on board, if you triple the Slash, you get to burn your opponent for 1 and then mill them for 5 4 times because that's the color you have on stage. So you mill them 20.
I think I actually
For
get to
comparison of
25.
powers, the Cinderella in Disney 100 mills 24 straight for no cost. This caps out at milling 25 if you have all 5 colors, and also is pay 1, ditch 1 to burn 1. So if you triple this, you can mill like up to 75. That's probably going to deal them 2 to 3 instances of uncancelable damage. So this basically reads like pay 1, ditch 1 Cocachino with extra steps. But getting to destroy your opponent's deck is a very cool interesting implication. This card also heals. It's off a bar trigger, which makes it really easy to find. This is the first thing that I threw together when I played Guitar Hero. The unfortunate thing is that you do have to play around getting orange and like the other 3 colors on your stage, but conveniently, there's a good brainstorm in yellow and a good brainstormer in red. And then there's a bunch of good like level 0 back row cards that are just blue. So it's really easy to get 4 colors on board. You just got to make sure that you get the 5th color somehow. The Star Power event can also give a character on board one of those colors. You can easily get the extra color you need depending on how your hand state is. Playing this card, I've got to about a 50% win rate with it. And I think that, again, like I said before, I think it's unfortunate that the Demigod is in the set because this would be like the card to play to if the set were real. But because of the Demigod, you probably just end up playing to that. But this card is fantastic. It's so good.
This is so
I love
stupid
it.
easy to set up. Like, you
Yep.
just need Marcus and Shirley in backstage, and that's all 5 colors set up. Doesn't Shirley get red?
No, the Shirley gets oh yeah, she does. I didn't even think about that. Yeah, she does get red. Look at
So
that.
it literally is that simple. You play a copy of your level 1 combo, you play the Nanami in your backstage, and they have 3 copies of this, and then you have pay 1, ditch 1, deal 1, mill 25.
And you're already going to be playing the Shirley because that's your level 1
Level
bar
1
combo.
combo.
So
it is
8
not
bars
hard.
is actually really easy.
Yeah, it's not hard at all. I think this is fine, balance-wise.
Yeah, absolutely, it's balanced. Yeah,
Solid.
Slash is a legend. He's he's the man. I think it was fitting to make him one of the best finishers in the set. And yeah, and then as you can see with the bar climax art, it's literally just the box art for Guitar Hero 3.
Yeah, love that for him. Is there any like flavor for Slash doing the whole mill thing? I mean, like
He's shredding
I know
the guitar.
about Night. Yeah, I know about
I
Night
based
Train,
this
but
off
like
of this is literally based off of Okayu from Hololive Volume 1 that mills off of Gamers.
yeah, no, I get that. But like, is there any reason like he does that in particular? Like, is like I know about Guns N' Roses, but like, is there like a Velvet Revolver thing that would have him do this, or is it just blatantly?
Is there anything more flavorful than just this being a Guitar Hero style finisher effect?
Yeah.
Is there something specific to Slash that makes the color matter and milling thing?
It was just more so of an experimental kind of effect, really.
Yeah.
It's just like
Okay.
I figured this. I would say this was actually one of the first cards I made when I was developing the set. Pretty much like once I was having the idea of messing with colors and trying to like get like the color orange and all that. Yeah, this was basically one of the first cards I designed when making the set, and just again, I wanted to figure out a way to try to make try to get the color orange and like having to get it efficiently and all that.
Yeah.
And this is a way to do that.
For sure.
Yep, correct.
Honestly, like I'm gonna say it again. I've never topped a regional. I've never like won a tournament or whatever. Like I could totally be off base in my evaluation of this card, but like deal 1 and then probably deal 1 uncancelable for just pay 1 ditch 1 is a pretty efficient finisher. I think this is a card you would play to. I don't know if it becomes like the best deck in the set, but I think if this was a real card, people would probably try to play to it. But I could be wrong. For all I know, I could be wrong.
I think you definitely want a heavy enough off finisher to carry you across just in case.
Luckily there is a very heavy off finisher you can play in red that goes very well with this.
All right, we're covered then.
So,
Cool.
so we'll get to it. Yeah,
Hey,
you can either triple this with the 2 guys in the backstage, or you can play that off finisher. That off finisher also checks if you have orange on stage. So this card actually also turns on your off finisher.
Right. Okay, we're good. Yeah, that bad. All right. Cool.
All right.
Next guy, the Doulahan.
All right, here he is. So Warrior Austin. He is when you play him from your hand, heal 1, and then his climax combo is when this card attacks, if Warrior Transformation is in your climax area, pay 1, discard 1, and also you have to have 2 or more other characters. And if you do, choose one of the following effects and perform it. First effect is deal 2 damage to your opponent. And the second one is look at up to 4 cards from the top of your opponent's deck. Choose up to 4 of those cards, put them into their waiting room, put the rest on top of their deck, and they shuffle it. So this card, I actually based this card off of Aladdin in Mirrorverse because I thought the card was really cool. So yeah, I just figured incorporate it in this set basically.
I like what you've done here because
Yeah,
the major change, right, is that Aladdin gives you the option of a free burn 1. This is instead, you have to pay the same cost for either effect, but you get the pay one, ditch one combo version of a burn, which is the deal 2. Super like that.
Was the Star-Lord in Marvel Volume 1, was he also pay 1 ditch 1 for that?
That
Let me
sounds
double
right. Yes. Actually, no. Yeah, he was pay one, discard one. Correct.
Wow, what the okay, wow, God. I remember this card being free, but okay. No, yeah, this card's great. What I don't like, the Aladdin is an 11k static. This is a 10-5. You've budgeted the Climax combo 500 power lower by adding the burn 2, but you've also added the cost there to kind of even it out. I don't think it's necessarily a bad thing, but it kind of feels weird not having it have the soul trigger and only sitting at 10-5.
Yeah, that's
I
actually a fair
almost
point. I think that is actually
Yeah.
off budget. You're right.
I almost wish that like you could give this like not side attack or something to make it that 11k static, but
No, you should. You shouldn't actually need to. It should just sit at 11k static. You're totally right. I didn't think of that. This shouldn't be a 1k combo if the Aladdin is only a 500 combo.
the other thing to note is that this is a green card, so it obviously you're intended to play this with the bag, but you could just play this with choice. You could just play this with door, or you could play this with pants as well. And the Aladdin, I believe, is off of a bar. So like you can't play this off of a bar, but you can play it off of pants.
Mhm.
Or a choice if you wanted the extra stock cost. But like this is just such a flexible thing. Like I haven't tested this combo yet. It's really underwhelming to me. Like it reads underwhelming. I hate that second effect so much. I hate that that's the only thing the Star Lord could do in Marvel Set 1. Like 8 Wind was actually a deck you could play, but that was what the finisher did. It was just look at 4, pull all the climaxes out, and then hope that they don't cancel your attack. Optional pay 1, ditch 1, burn 2 is like fine. It's just boring, you know? So like again, I don't think this is bad. It's just like this isn't cool like the Slash. It's not flavorful like the Tom Morello we're gonna see later. I think the Lou combo in red is also very very cool. There is one thing this card has going for it. This card has a changer. It's not a changer. I'm sorry. The base form Austin lets you pay 1, sack itself to salvage the Warrior Austin from your waiting room. So this can very easily be played and searched for. So despite not being like the most interesting card or whatever, like it's very flexible. Like honestly, if you're playing any of the other warriors, you might just slot 2 of this card in as an 11k cross turn beater that might incidentally get you to a ditch 1, pay 1, burn 2 whenever you need it. I don't know how good this card is, but I'm still gonna rate it the A plus because in theory there's a ton of decks that can play this.
Oh yeah.
Either as their top end or just incidentally.
That's the Mume effect, where it's just like it's Mume effect, but even more versatile because you have more options on what you're actually doing with the whole line. Like it is.
Yeah.
It is good that
Yeah,
it's
exactly.
simple. You know, it's not as like epic or whatever as the other finishers. That is fine. You need simpler finishers in a set like this. So something has to be something that a person who is newer to the game can like pick this up and be like, all right, I understand what this card does. I make choices. I am hoping there is an even more simple combo in this set, but just to be like, you know, you need cards like that at times. You just need brain dead cards in your sets so that you don't have to like not everything can be like 100% super complicated.
I mean, you could argue the Demigod of Rock is that combo in this set.
I don't even know that, right? Because like if you're a newer player and you're reading through that effect, I don't know.
I win my lane. I get to kick thing to clock.
Well,
I get to kick my opponent in the balls.
well, because there's that extra process of like, you know, they have to send the cards and then, you know, they have to put them off to the side so you can then put them back in later and then you put the top up. This is just deal 2 damage. Like,
Yeah.
God, all right.
Yeah, basically, it was kind of difficult for because considering the fact that, like I mentioned earlier, that the warrior abilities, majority of them are mainly just they basically are just boosting up your multiplier. There's only so much you can do with that flavor wise. I think with Johnny, it makes the most sense because he has a name that specifically would fit well with deck speed. But like everybody else is just like, oh hey, like extend their multiplier because in Guitar Hero, the highest multiplier you can get in Warriors of Rock is like times 3600. Not 3600, sorry, times 36 multiplier. Like half of the abilities are mostly just like extending the multiplier. And then you have one ability that's just like, oh hey, like you just start off at like 100% green, which is like, how do you make that a flavorful effect? It's just kind of, it's almost like a nothing burger effect that's just like, oh cool, like I get to start off doing well on the song. It's like to translate that into Weiss is kind of difficult. So there was definitely a couple of them where I just kind of had to do something like generic with them. So that way it's just kind of like, having some generic stuff in there at least will balance it out in a way.
This kind of fits in because the look at 4 pull any cards out is sort of setting you up to deal the damage. Like you're putting your opponent in a slightly worse deck state before you attack. That kind of fits.
Agreed. Speaking of things that fit flavor wise,
oh god,
this is Kurt Cobain.
You're wrong for this one, Desmond. You're so wrong.
God, one of your other guitar character attacks this card, gets 1,000 power till end of turn, and then he is a memory JC. Pay 1, send it to memory. When your other character is frontal attacked, to return that character to your hand. This profile, I feel like, does literally exist somewhere.
This card is banned. It is in Psychono.
Psychono, yeah. All right.
Well, okay.
It's banned in
JP.
Yeah.
It's banned in JP, not in English.
Yeah. English Psychono is allowed to do this.
The first build of when I built this, I just slammed 4 of this in. Let's be clear here. This set has Aqua Ricky. This set has a Futaba that is also a free runner. So it has normal plussing zeros that you can play. But this card is in itself a plussing 0 because you can either sit it in your front stage or put it in your back stage. Whenever your other character gets front attack, you get to pay 1, get this to memory to build the memory, and then bring the character back. And hey, this set has an on-play clock plus, which we'll go over in blue. It has a Rico with a relevant second effect in red. It has a drop salvage with a relevant second effect in red. And it has Midori. It has the Mio drop search. Those 4 cards, except for the blue one, all have double time on play effects. Those cards you can just recur with the memory JC. And it's so good. It swings for 25 if it's your third lane. It supports all your other level 0s. It supports your level 1s. It helps you loop your level 1 combos. But you know something? This and the Rush event, the 2112, are the only cards in the set that inherently go to memory. So the reason this was broken in Psychono and Grisaya was you could compress your memory very easily with the other zeros in the set. In this set, despite being a very good JC effect, there's so many other cards that you might want to play. There was one build of this that I tried without the JC and the Aqua Ricky instead, and it ran exactly the same as when I was playing it. The most copies of this card I've gotten to my memory over the course of a game is 2. There is a payoff to playing it. And again, this card is banned in JP. But as a plussing 0, I think this card gets outclassed. The other thing too is let's say you play 4 of your runner and you play 4 of this and you play 3 of your brainstorm and 3 or 4 of your clock plus and a bunch of other, there's a bunch of one of techs that you end up going up to 19, 20 or 21 zeros. And if you play that many zeros, you're not having a lot of soul triggers in your deck. So you're not really pushing damage. So while this card is very good, to be honest, in the context of this set, it's here. I honestly think you might play the Aqua Ricky or the Runner instead of this. It's probably the best green fix that the set has, but your Runner is also green, so you could just play that instead.
You could say the memory smells like Teen Spirit.
Yeah, you could say that. God.
You're welcome.
He removes himself so you can say one of your other characters. There's another joke you can make in there. I'm not going to do it though, because what are your thoughts on this card? Because I just went off on this. I don't know how much of that you actually heard, but in theory, this card's broken, but there aren't any other cards in the set that can build memory. So do you actually play this?
I mean, you kind of basically hit the nail on the head. I mean, it's just genuinely a good card. JC is just overall a good card affecting. I can see because I mean you were playing 4 copies of it, and I think it's justified. And it's just similar with how I say with Iron Man. As long as you manage the JC effect and you're not just going so gung ho with it and blowing out your stock, typically it's a good thing to always have. Honestly, it's just a well-rounded card. I think it's safe to say it is definitely a staple card. I think it's fine as a 4 of, and if you wanted if you could make the argument playing either 2 or 3 of it's also just fine also. If you just wanted to genuinely splash this card just to have it, to be able to have the access to JC, I think is also fine.
How far have we fallen that this card is a double rare in Psychono set 2? It's a single rare here, and it actually feels like a single rare. It doesn't feel like it should be a double rare,
Mm.
It's
I mean,
weird, but
I mean, it is a common thing that happens in Weiss. Like effects from like back in the day. Sometimes you'll have some effects that were considered good in like the old days, where it was considered a double rare, and then like we could probably pinpoint some effects that were considered double rare slots that have now probably been like considered like freaking like a common slot
Dragon
now
Maid.
at this point.
Yeah.
it's already happened in
Dragon
Dragon
Maid,
Maid,
literally.
actually.
But that's
Yeah,
also because that
Yeah.
profile's like,
so garbage.
yeah.
And
I think it's also context dependent from the set too. Like in this set, you don't have a lot of memory compression, so this card isn't like a super premium like it would be in Psychono. I think the context of your set can also affect a card's rarity as well. But what were you gonna say?
So I will say Kurt Cobain in Guitar Hero has quite a interesting history
Hmm.
because he is a guest character along with Carlos Santana, Johnny Cash, and as well as Shirley Manson. They're part of the they're basically guests within the guest characters in Guitar Hero 5. And when he was introduced into the game, Courtney Love, pretty much who was basically his ex girlfriend, basically she basically has control of his estate since he passed away. So pretty much when he was incorporated into the game, Courtney Love actually sued Activision pretty close to like after release of the game because it was actually revealed that in Guitar Hero 5, any songs that have female vocals in the songs you can actually use Kurt Cobain's avatar model for the vocals for those songs. So when she found out about that, she got very upset that she sued Activision because of it, and she won the lawsuit. That lawsuit is what caused Warriors of Rock to discontinue the guest characters.
Holy shit.
Yep.
You know what the worst part about that is? When Nirvana was inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, the remaining members played all of their songs with female lead vocalists. Like historically, Kurt Cobain has been was very supportive of. I'm gonna look up her name so I don't get it wrong, but like he was very supportive of female vocalists, like in general. So like it's weird that Courtney Love like had that thing.
Like people definitely like back then like equated her to being like responsible to what happened to him because like a lot of people said that like she's not a really good person apparently.
Yeah, I
Yeah, a
don't
lot
really
of
have
rock
an opinion
history.
on Courtney Love, but Kim Gordon, that's what I was thinking of. Kim Gordon is the lead singer of Sonic Youth. That's right, Sonic Youth.
Oh.
So
Oh, okay,
they
yeah,
were
I've
kind
heard
of in
of
the
them.
same
Yeah,
they were
I've heard
kind
of
of in the
them.
same era as Nirvana. So like she performed with them at the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. So like it's just really weird that Courtney Love had that take given that Kurt Cobain supported Kim and a lot of other female vocalists like while he was alive. So like I don't know, just weird, but yeah, ultimately unfortunate that we don't get any more guest slots, but the guest slots that we do have pay off pretty strong in this custom set that we're reviewing. You're super wrong for having him just go to memory for his ability. Like honestly, it's S tier flavor, but fuck you for doing it. You know what I mean?
Feel that.
Oh my god. Also, as I was gonna mention, a little also fun fact for those that don't know, Dave Grohl of Foo Fighters was also one of the original members of Nirvana.
Oh,
Yes.
I did not know that.
He's
And
in some
Pat
deep
Smear,
water apparently, but that's another
yeah,
discussion.
Yeah, Pat Smear, who was also in the Foo Fighters, was one of the touring members of Nirvana. So he's like the unofficial like fourth member of that band.
Huh.
Anyway, lore. Do you want to talk about this card now? So this is Shirley Crawley, new contract. While she has a marker, she gets 2K. On play from hand, you can reveal top if it's a character or the star power activate event. You get to put it face down into her as a marker, and it's just a free runner. So it's like that same condition that the Gil Thunder has and the Denji has, but it's a free runner instead of a chaser, which honestly, justified. It means this card gets to be a rare instead of a double rare, which is like fine.
Yeah, because
I don't Yeah, I've not played this card yet, but in theory it's really good. In theory it's playable. Really, it's like, are you gonna play the Kurt Cobain JC? Then you don't need to play this card. If you aren't playing the Kurt, then you probably are playing this card. So it's like a B probably. You like if you're playing it, you're playing four of it. And I do like that this one actually does hit on the event, unlike some other cards in the set. Like like you said, JB, the Johnny Napalm doesn't hit off this event, but this card does. So in the decks that you are playing the Star Power Activate event, you could actually justify playing this card as your +0.
Yeah.
Mhm.
More testing required to see how good this card actually is, but in theory it's good. I just haven't tested with it yet.
Yeah. Seems solid.
Yeah. So my thing with this card is that like I'm a bit of kind of a bit of a Weiss boomer take. Like since I've been playing Weiss for such a long time, I don't know. I'm still in the mindset that I still think that free runners are still inherently good, just because it's like they're just inherent plussing zeros, just because of the fact that like majority. I feel like majority of the time they will survive combat unless your opponent just ends up freaking just straight up just yeeting out like 3 characters off the get go and just like tries to push damage. But majority of the time I feel like free runners like have merit to like where like they'll survive like one to like an extra turn or two where it's like they actually you get value off of them just by for them just sitting on the board. So like I've typically been trying my best to kind of like try to like find out different ways, figure out different ways to like make free runners viable in modern Weiss, because I will say that I've noticed that like pure when it comes to like pure free runners, aside from like them being typically put in like trial decks normally, like for example like the Spy Family trial deck, that the Anya free runner that's in there, like typically like free runners aren't usually like typically played as commonly as like how they were back in the day, I would say. But I think like figuring out different ways to kind of like fine tune them to do different things, or kind of give them a boost to make them more viable, versus like other different types of runners that they've put out over the years would be kind of nice.
My source is that I made it the fuck up.
Leave Shirley alone.
I don't think I'm even leaving this part of the next card.
This is Austin Tejas. When this card is placed on stage from your hand, reveal top card. If it's a Guitar Hero character or event, this card gets plus 2,000. And then pay 1, sack him to get the Warrior Austin that we showed earlier from waiting room to back to your hand. This is based off of the level 0 Jotaro from Stardust Crusaders. It's pretty much verbatim the same card. The Jotaro grabs the level 3 finisher. So, I mean, just overall good card. And as, you know, for the Warrior flavor, basically, just like with Warrior Johnny, he, you know, sacks himself to grab the Warrior Austin to, you know, when you play him, he transforms into Warrior Austin.
You know if you need to play this card, but it's kind of whatever.
The Jotaro doesn't hit off events. He just hits off traded characters. So this would need to be 1,500 base.
Like you said before, if you're hitting on a specifically named event, it's no demerit. But if it's any event, you have to make it a minus 500.
Yeah. So it's tough. Unfortunate. But yeah.
Did you actually look at the Jotaro though?
Yeah, I literally did. It is just stand user, stand, get 2k.
Mm.
So like it would have to either it would need to be a different multiplier one way or the other. So like it would not get to 4k if it hits off events. If it was just the like you could name like 1 or 2. I think you'd probably just name the power meter event, I guess, and be fine, or the Resh, one of the two.
Ah, okay.
But yeah.
All right.
Oh, actually, the only thing I will add is that so Austin Tejas, he's one of the 2 new characters. Well, I guess new quote unquote in at the time. He only shows up in Warriors of Rock. Like he was very brand new, along with Echo Tesla. Aside from Warriors of Rock, they're not in any of the other games.
Yeah, he's very hardcore.
What does he look like?
Echo?
No, Tejas. Like he very much looks like someone, right?
Well, he looks like Slash a little bit, but his hat's all wrong.
All right. I feel like that the red coat thing is triggering something. Maybe it's not a real person I'm thinking of. All right.
I mean, Vincent Valentine. I mean, any other vampire hunter there is.
That might
Dante
be
from
it.
the Devil May Cry series.
It might be Dante. Yeah. I'm satisfied with that answer. All right. Move on to. So this is The Singer. You may know him from TV shows such as The Singer, which is I think a show that exists somewhere. 1/0/1500. If you have another the bassist or the drummer, this card gets red. On play or death, you may pitch a card to choose a Guitar Hero character in your clock, return it to your hand, put the top card of your deck into your clock. Interesting. And that's also a clock bomb.
This is the Suki I was talking about earlier. It's literally the card from Avatar, exactly the same.
She's double timed?
Yeah. Yes, I could not. When I found out that card was
I
double
forgot.
timed, I could not believe it, but it is.
I just didn't remember.
It's absolutely insane.
Okay.
So in like for example, in a 4-color deck, what you can do is like if you level a blue card and then have a green card in your clock, you can like play this down, get your card, add the green card to hand, clock yourself, and then like depending on what you clock, you can play like a different level 1 card that's not blue or green, you know, because this enables you to like if you're at low clock, it enables you to potentially play multiple things out that you wouldn't normally be able to. And even if you don't care about that, it's a cost bomb, which is like really good into certain things in the meta. It's really good into Spy Family. It's really good into Chainsaw Man. From a meta standpoint, this card's like less good, but like when Chainsaw Man and Spy Family were at their hype, like earlier this year, the reason so many people were playing Avatar was because this card was in the deck and it could out Kishibe and it could out Fiona. So like there are things this card can do in from a meta standpoint, but like even in the context of this custom set, it's like pretty good. I've played this card before. It's handy. It's just again competing with so many other good level ones in the set for slots.
Yeah, that is definitely an issue. And I mean the rest of this package.
One of them is the it's just like a 1/1 with hand on core. It's like the what is it, the Glinda from Ruby, like that profile of standby target that only gets big on attack. And then the other one's like an assist. In theory, you could play these cards together to get the full board in 5 colors, but there's probably more efficient ways that you could do it. But if you're playing standby, hey, these guys are pretty good with standby.
This is the reason the trigger. This is the reason the trigger exists to make these guys happen. I'll take that.
Potentially, yeah.
So these guys are basically the protagonists in Guitar Hero 3. They're the ones trying to become the best band around the world, and they make a contract with Lou. They kind of want to break the contract. They want out. Then they have to basically essentially fight Lou, since when he reveals himself that he's the devil and all that. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Like they're mainly just from Guitar Hero 3.
Who is their guitarist?
That's
The guitarist is supposed to be you. Basically, it's like the self-insert protagonist, basically for the career mode.
and it's not like a. You said there was a character select thing, but was that for 3?
For Guitar Hero 3.
Where there's
No,
no.
It's for On Tour Warriors and Legends that they got that.
Okay, so it is just the one guy. Okay.
You know, there is an implication here I didn't consider. If you just have the singer with the drummer in your backstage, the singer gets red and the drummer gets orange. So that's 4 colors right there. You could just play those 2 cards without the bassist and get 4 of the 5 colors off of those. It's just another way to set up Slash, but yeah, you'd still need the Star Power event. But you wouldn't need to play the bassist, is my point. You could just play these 2 guys.
Overshadowed by
Yeah.
which is fine because we have a perfectly good other bassist coming up.
Oh, God.
All right, it looks like I got this one.
No. This is mine. Nice try. No. Let me talk about my purple hair waifu. All right. So this is Shirley Crawley. If you have another Marcus, Maddie, or Ricky Lee, specifically one of these named cards, not a character with their name, but these specific cards, she gets the color red on stage. During your turn, if all your characters are Guitar Hero, she gets 2k power. So she's 6k on swing. And then she has on attack, if you have the solo act, which is a bar. JB didn't put it on the slide, but it's a bar.
Shit, you're right. How did I forget?
I don't know, but it's fine. So if you have her bar in your climax area, you get to ditch a card from your hand. If you do, look at up to 4, choose up to 2 characters, reveal them, put them into your hand, and ditch the rest. It's the Kiara combo from Hololive.
Ambassador trial deck effect, yes.
Ambassador. God, yes, that, yes. It's literally the Kiara, but it's 500 power weaker for some reason. I don't know why.
So when I made this card, I based her off of the mash combo, and I think it was Babylonia if I remember correctly, because she pretty much has the same stats, same ability, and all that.
Which would say the mash is off because the continuous is only 500 because it's only on turn. If it was cross turn, it would be correctly budgeted. Or if it didn't have the character trait condition, it would be fairly budgeted.
It's been a minute. I'm gonna have to look at her. Maybe I might be an underset on my end.
The mash is 4,500 base, but she says if you have 2 or more characters, she gains 1k cross turn. The Kiara is 45 and gains 2k on turn if all your characters are Guitar Hero. So this card actually gets to sit at 45.
So she's okay with being at 45 base.
Yeah. Either way, it's 45, regardless of what power condition you're using. Which is actually wild. That makes this card so much better. Because like when I was playing this, I was like, dang, you can swing it at 7k with Climax, but like you're still losing board to a lot of things. But if this can swing at 7.5, that's like perfect, actually. All right, so this card's busted. Like Kiara on a bar is so good. You get to ditch a card, look at 4, get 2, you get deck speed. Basically, the only time you're not happy to do this is if you hit like 2 climaxes off the mill 4, you're stuck with getting those 2 characters. And this card also can't grab the Star Power event. It can't grab any events. The Kiara can at least grab the Cherry Blossom event from the Ambassador trial deck. That's not like a downside or anything. It's just you could put like one of the events on here, like the Star Power event or the Sudden Death event on here, and it would be completely fine. But like this card is so good. It's so good. Any combo like this that lets you get hand filter, you get to filter out your bars. This is the card I was talking about. Like when you in Avatar, right? When you trigger the Avatar state at level 1 with a Toph, you're like, cool, I just got another free activation off my Toph combo, right? It's the same idea here. Instead of ditch 1 to cigarettes twice, you're ditching 1 to look at 4, add 2. But again, if you trigger a bar, now you're funding the cost for this without going minus hand. If you trigger the Demigod, same thing. You're triggering and going over hand without minusing out your hand size. So this card is so good. I think you might end up on the Johnny as like probably the better combo, but this just being what it is, being off a bar and like getting to just kind of sit in the backstage with your Marcus or your Maddie and gaining extra colors during your slash kill turn. An 8 bar is already a good like synergistic climax slam to play anyway. It's just an A plus. For me, it is anyway. It's probably just a straight A overall, like because there are some times where you just get unlucky and hit 2 climaxes, but like I love this card too much. It's so good.
Yeah, I was definitely happy how I designed it. Like, it's just, I guess I would say, honestly, at current day Weiss, I would say probably like looking up to 4 type of effects are pretty much like my favorite plusing type of combos, more or less, nowadays. I base it off of MASH, because I mean, back in the day when Babylonia came out, I thought it was a really good card. I like the idea of discarding 1 to get 2, adding 2 to your hand. So I figured to incorporate with her. And aside from that, not only is it a great card, but I guess a little bit of a fun facts with the card is that, or with Shirley Crowley, is that her storyline is that basically, so she is the bassist, as as it's mentioned in her, pretty much within her trait. So she basically is wanting to become like the best, basically, within the music industry, because the idea is that like the bassists typically get overshadowed by like the guitarist and the singer. So she's basically wanting to become the best there is, to become the very top, even though she's known as being the bassist. So she wants to be able to prove herself, showing that she can basically do anything and be recognized for her talent, basically. And out of all of the 4 main characters in World Tour, she basically has the most interesting story, just because she definitely has the most cutscenes out of all of them. Hence why I basically have like more. I have like more screenshots of her and more card effects for her versus like the other 3.
It's so funny that they built the waifu deck into the game design, into the video game design.
Yeah. If the Guitar Hero cutscenes were much longer and they actually had a little bit maybe more context to some extent, like through like voice acting, then I probably would have been able to like maybe cook up a waifu deck with her, particularly because like I mentioned, she definitely had way more cutscenes out of the other 3 that like I was able to put more work into Shirley Crowley.
They knew their audience. They knew that they would want goth girl, that JPEG.
Yeah.
And they were right. God. All right. Our next card is also a climax combo, and I do have the climax next to this one at least.
Mm-hmm. Here we have Warrior Casey. She's a 2/1. So she is, when a climax is placed on your climax area, choose one of your Guitar Hero characters, and that character gets 1500 power and the following ability until end of turn. The following ability is basically pay 1 on attack twin drive. And then her climax combo is with Warrior Transformation. When it's placed on your climax area, if you have 4 more other Guitar Hero characters, you may put up to 2 Guitar Hero characters from your waiting room face down underneath this card as markers. And this card gets the following ability until the end of your opponent's next turn. You can activate this ability up to 2 times per turn. At the beginning of your opponent's attack phase, you may pay cost by detaching the markers. If you do, choose one of your opponent's characters and they get -1 soul until end of turn.
Huh.
So basically, that combo is pretty much on theme with her ability. Her warrior ability is called Streak Guardian. You start off with 2 shields when you use her ability. Throughout the song, if at any point, if you're about to lose your note streak, you will lose your shield instead of your note streak. So with the 2 shields, you're basically have the ability to save your note streak twice, so that way you don't reset back to 0 to having to start all over. This also, in addition, includes, if I remember correctly, it also saves your multiplier as well. So the idea is that basically you can basically give up to -2 soul to basically take less damage.
Yeah.
There's a level 0 Casey Lynch that like has a effect condition that works off this card, but it doesn't change into it. So this is just a 2/1 with the Nexel thing. But even then, I don't think it's bad. I just haven't had a chance to brew with it yet.
It's a back row card that combos off the climax, so you can have a finisher and a level 1 name on,
This
depending on which one
doesn't
you're gonna
have
use.
to be in your center stage.
No, because it requires you to have a full board to use it, but you can have her in back row to do this.
All right. You know what? You might be cooking with this one.
Uh-huh. Oh, I think he's cooking, yeah.
I would say this is definitely one of the like experimental cards I put in this set, which is why I put bag in here, because this is something that I feel like isn't common in Weiss. So I safe to say that that bag is very, very. I would say it's definitely the most ignored trigger out of all of them. So I figured with this card, to try to this along with the warrior transformation bag climax, I figured try to kind of like mess with something with some brand new ideas to see if it's viable.
Yeah. The problem is that you've got 5 warrior transformations that you could work off. Like,
True, that's true.
I didn't realize this was a backstage. I guess maybe I realized it when I read it for the first time, but looking back, I was like, "Oh, this is why is this card so weak?" Now I know why. It's because it's a back row card. So you could play 2 of this in your backstage with triple Johnny in the front at level 2, and just kill their level 2s, or you could just like. There's another warrior you can play. You can play this with the Lars warrior as well.
Yep.
God dang. And we can go into Lars in more detail when we get to red, but like this card with the Lars might be cracked actually.
Meanwhile, I'm just trying to figure out how this is budgeted, and I can tell you it's probably not at the moment. I think this actually sits bigger, and I don't know how much yet.
You know what? Yeah, I think this combo is pretty good with the Lars. The Lars is an 8k static, but if he's placed on stage by change, he gains 3k cross turn, so he peaks out at 11.5. Or no, 11k. And then he has a climax combo that lets him look at top 2, put them back in any order, then reveal top if it's a character, you get to add it to hand. The Lars can plus you. It can sit at 11k cross turn, and then you also have this behind it to make your opponent take neg soul. That's pretty good. I think now might be a good time to drop the fact that there is a card in this set that lets you play characters without fulfilling color requirement if you have experience. So like this is way easier than you might expect to get a bunch of different cards with different colors down at level 2. I think because of the implication with the Lars, this is going to be a straight B for me. Obviously, we need to test this, but you slam a door or a pants, and you get to do both this and the Lars combo. That's pretty nutty.
Yeah.
And again, you can just play pants to recur this every turn if you want to.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're cooking with this one for sure.
I mentioned it before. I surprisingly enjoyed making this set more. So, I was having a lot more fun making this set compared with Assassin's Creed, even though that was like a major passion project for me.
Yeah.
Yeah. God.
Shall we just move on from this? I mean, there's probably more we could think about here, but
yeah,
like,
just I can't figure out the budget on this right now. We'll
it's
get
okay,
back to you
yeah.
on it in post.
My source is that I made it the fuck up.
This is Shirley Crowley recording studio. When your other Guitar Hero character attacks, this card gets 1000 power till end of turn. When this card is placed on stage from your hand, you may pitch 2 Guitar Hero characters. If you do, look at the 2 cards from the top of your deck. Choose any one of them to add to your hand. Put the rest in your stock in any order. So this is either pitch 2 for +2 stock or pitch 2 for +1 stock, +1 hand. On top of that, it's a 3500 swing. This seems like a very good blessing 0 to have.
Yep. This is Machina from Chainsaw Man.
Does the Machina have the power on it?
Hmm?
What the fuck, Richard? God.
It's not really a +0, but it is a card that like in theory you can play. I haven't played this card because I think there's a card that generates you stock. It's the power level 0. On attack, put one of your characters in the stock. I've been playing that card a lot, and that card I think is better than this for this set, but this card's not bad. I know it got played in Beaufry. And like if you're trying to play the stupid demigod guitar event for whatever reason, this is a card that can ramp you stock to play that, but like I don't know.
So the Beaufry one didn't have a power condition on it. I'm pretty sure that one was just a
Nope.
flat 2K.
UK, yep.
This one gets to be a 3,500 swing on top of it. That
Mhm.
is wild to me. God.
It was played as a Tech 1 of in the Aki deck. I mean, overall good card. But as Gadget's mentioning earlier, yeah, like the set is so loaded with many good zeros that like you probably just you can easily overlook this and just be like, it's not really needed. It's just like more like good stuff that like it's optional.
Yeah.
And it's there, but like most likely you're not going to really need it.
Yeah.
But anyways, I guess like the only thing I can really say about this is that this is like when you finish the career mode for bass. This is her literally just like she's in the recording studio and she's playing all the instruments and singing, and then at the end she wins like an award basically.
Wow. Good for her.
Yeah, like she was on that grind set.
I can't think of any female bass players off the top of my head except for Tina Weymouth from Talking Heads. But even I don't think even she won any Grammys for the Tom Tom Club stuff, but big fan of hers anyway. Speaking of women who I'm a big fan of, this is Shirley Manson. She has garbage trait, but not because she's bad. It's because she's the lead singer of the band Garbage.
Yeah.
Yeah, so don't get it wrong. When she's placed on stage from hand, both players perform the following action. If your memory has 5 or more cards, choose 4 cards, then send the rest to waiting room. That card is 2-sided, so it doesn't cost anything, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
Is that correct?
That's correct.
Yep. And then this card also has act. Pay 1, return 2 characters from your waiting room to your deck, put this card into your waiting room, and then shuffle. Choose a Guitar Hero character in your waiting room and return it to hand.
What?
This is the card I mentioned earlier that shuffles back.
What the fuck is the cost? Wait, what? Okay, hold on. Where did you find that? If you did,
I based this card off of the Sordelina, whatever the hell her name is, from the 10th anniversary SEO set.
Oh God!
Sal.
Yeah, that
I probably
does.
butchered her name, but
What the?
yeah, it's literally word for word.
Wow!
My
All right,
God!
cool.
Okay, that's insane.
Yeah. So I haven't played this card either, but like because you have the demigod in your set, this card just becomes a way for you to put extra triggers that aren't climaxes back in your deck. And like the first effect ends up being incidental in certain matchups anyway, that you might just slot this in. I haven't found space for it, but it's fine.
That is. God, man. Why? What? Okay, this has so many implications, right? Because like, if a base helmet is pitch 1, send this, and this is like a replacement cost you can do for that. Holy shnikes, that is terrifying. Just like a way to just get shuffle back into your deck on your helmet. It does feel a bit painful that it's stock instead of hand costed. Actually, that is a actual trade-off, I think, when it comes to helmet. This isn't as crazy as my brain is thinking it is, but damn.
But you know, JB, in case you were concerned, don't worry. This set also does have just regular helmet in it, in blue. So
Yeah,
you know, you've got either flavor.
In case you're worried about this set having not enough utility, don't worry. There's still more utility to come.
Yep.
God. The fact she's garbage is funny. All right. Next card.
This is Clive Winston. At the beginning of your attack phase, if there is a climax in your climax area, this card gets plus 2,500 power and plus 1 soul until end of turn. And then when you play an event, this card gets the following ability until end of your opponent's next turn. Auto ability, pay 1. At the beginning of your opponent's attack phase, you may pay the cost. If you do, you can move this card to an open position on your backstage.
Huh.
I will say this is definitely a weird one. I kind of did do a little bit experimenting with this one. So the first effect is from the Ramlethal familiar from Guilty Gear.
Right. Okay.
And then so the first one's definitely experimental because the idea that I had was like, oh, it'd be kind of cool to like have a level 1 that like, just kind of like similar to the familiar, how like it gets like super big when you play climax.
Yeah.
So the idea that I kind of had was like it'd be kind of cool like if you play like star power, you get the additional ability of like, oh, during the opponent's turn, you can like choose to save him, put him in the backstage, and then if let's say you end up having another climax next turn, you can just push him up and then just do it again.
Yeah, JB, that first line of text reads like fractional, doesn't it?
So, okay.
Like obviously it's not because of Lucifero, but like it's 2,500 power and his soul is like technically a 3,500 budget, right?
So in the words of my ancestors, soul is complicated. The soul would probably actually be cut priced to 2 on here, which means that this is paying 1,500 for and getting like 45 power out of it.
Weird.
Because I feel like it's the same boat with the Ramlethal, the Lucifero combo. I think the Lucifero's combo is just a straight 500 power combo, which means that bottom effect would be straight 500. The weird part about it is that pay 1, send yourself to an open position of backstage is a 1,500 effect. So this effect actually would need to end up fractional for it to balance out perfectly.
So this would need to be like 3K
and get more power in like a weird amount. I don't know, man. This is a wonky one. I think because the Lucifer is the only other card I know with that exact ratio, I think I'm okay leaving it as equal and letting the comments help sort it out.
Sure.
So yeah.
For me, I almost put this card in one of my decks, but there's like this card is in green. This card is competing with the Singer and another card that we'll see in a couple slides that combos off of the Star Power event. So like, actually no, it's literally the next card. Like this card is competing with this Casey that we're going to talk about in a second, and the Singer for slots in green. And in like a 4-color deck, this is competing with so many other cards. I haven't found space for it. Getting Soul is definitely a good thing. It lets you pump more like damage on your combo turns. But I definitely don't think this is the first card you look to unless you're really trying to push damage through. I think it's like a C-.
Yeah, sounds about right.
All right.
Who the hell is Clive Winston?
He's one of the original characters in Guitar Hero 1.
Okay.
They cut him out after Guitar Hero 2.
Fascinating. Okay.
Yeah. There's a couple characters that get cut out pretty early between like Guitar Hero 2 and 3 because a lot of the roster changes after 3.
That makes some sense.
He might have been named after Clive Davis, who was the president of Columbia Records from 1967 to 1973. But like, I don't know. Lots of people have the name Clive anyway. So
a weird number considering that it's Clive.
Yeah.
That's just a generational thing, I guess. All right, we're good. I'm satisfied. Next card. This is Casey Lynch from Guitar Hero 3. During your turn, if Star Power Activate is in your level, this card gets 3,500 power, the color yellow, and the following ability. Pay 1, rest one of your other standing Guitar Hero characters. When this card's battle opponent becomes reversed, you may pay that cost to search your deck for a Guitar Hero character. Feel the opponent put in your hand, shuffle your deck. If you put a level 3 character into your hand by this effect, you may draw a ditch. This is... Where is this from?
This card was inspired by Himeno from Chainsaw Man, the one that's like on play when you reverse something, pay one like I think it's like pay 1 ditch and then rest something, and then if you do salvage 2. So the idea behind that effect was pretty much based off of that. And then in addition to that, the last one where if you add a level 3 to draw 1 ditch, that one I got out of the Jolene combo from Stone Ocean, the level 1, where she is look up to 4. Add a character to hand, and if it was a level 3 that you added to your hand, then you draw 1, ditch 1.
Right.
All right.
Okay. So. Oh, sweet baby Jesus. All right.
Yeah, this is like the most fractional combo to fraction out of Fractionberg.
God.
This is big brain babe mid-back thing.
So like Maguro normally needs another character on stage to do the combo, right? Maguro is if you have another character do the thing.
Well, yeah, but Maguro is also needs a climax typically.
I know, we're getting there. So,
Okay, yes. And yes, you are right.
the way that the Jolene is doing this is that it is an experience 2 combo that just adds that effect onto it. So having a 2x condition instead of a 1.5x condition gets you there, which is also equivalent to like 2 or more, right? So the idea being that a climax combo with a 2 or more condition can throw that on top of a Maguro. I don't really see them ever putting effects like that on normal cards, so it's really hard to say. I feel like, though, this doesn't get 8K and do that. That feels wrong.
So having the very, very specific card experience would have to be a 4x condition for this because it gains 3,500 and this other effect, which we think is budgeted at 500, right?
So it's only on during turn. So during turn plus the name and level. But name and level, specific name and level is also a variable multiplier depending on what level you're at. And based on my spreadsheet I'm pulling up on my phone so I don't ruin the recording, is a 2x. Actually, no, it's a 3x multi. There's like one card I think I was able to actually base that off of. But if that's true, which is wild, specific name in memory being a 3x, this would be a time. You spent 1K, so this would be have 6,000 power budget, 3,500 power, and the on reverse effect. The on reverse effect on the Himeno.
The Himeno is during turn gain 2k, and then it has this other effect. So
this would be off budget for the other reason, in that it actually doesn't have enough things to throw power at.
yeah,
Even if we assume it became a like 1K effect.
right.
Oh God.
So if you assume that having the Jolene effect with the Himeno effect together with that extra like payoff of getting level 3, if we assume that together is worth 1k. So if that's 1k, then 1k plus 3,500 is 4,500. So you could make this a 4k that gets the 35 cross turn with the skill cross turn. Or if we think this is a 1k, then you could make this gain like 45 on turn
5K,
and
I
the
think.
effect, or maybe even 5k.
Yeah.
Nuts.
Absolutely
I mean,
absurd.
I think because of min maxing, 5k on turn is too crazy. I think you make this a 4k base and have it be it gains 35 cross turn and this effect.
So if
So
you lose during the turn, you need to have it at like a 3 multiplier.
Well, if it was paying 1,500, it would be a 3 multiplier, right?
It would be 35 in the effect. Yeah, brain math hard.
Yeah.
You're good. Yeah.
I think you do that because then it gets to sit at 7/5 cross turn and it has 2 chances to activate this on reverse skill, which is actually a pretty strong payoff for getting this event in your experience. It's not impossible, but it's actually pretty tricky to get this in your experience level 1 because this set does not have level swap.
True.
So you have to find a way to get, and also this is an event, so you basically have to find a way to clock it from hand or get lucky and have it in there at your level 0 clock in order for this to actually work.
Yeah. This definitely is one of those that needs testing and a way to figure out the budgeting on it.
Having said all that, this card needing this event is actually a problem because of the deck slot. Again, you have to either get lucky with getting this in your clock or be like doing things at level 0 to try and grab this and get it in there before you hit level 1. Yeah. It's so impossibly hard to do. In theory, this card is a really good effect where you can just rest another character to search. It's so powerful. Because of the deck slots and because of how unlikely it is for you to get it off, it's like a D+ for me. Potentially, like getting to sit at 7/5 cross turn would be really good. Even swinging it at 9/5 if you had it budgeted correctly would be also good. But like, God, it's so unlikely to happen.
God,
but the card is cool.
It's breaking my brain in real time.
It's just one of those other like experimental cards I tried messing with because I wasn't sure if I had that power budgeting right. I just felt like this might seem reasonable. And then funny enough, also, I think the reason why I got that 3,500 power, I also just remembered because there's another Himeno card. It's a green level 1 that like has a similar condition, but it's memory instead because she works off of the cigarettes.
Yep.
where it's like if it's in memory, she gets like during her turn. If you have the cigarettes in memory, that she gets like plus 3,500, and then like does like I think like a clock kick or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
So that's kind of where I was like pulling that from. So it was a little bit of some hodgepodge kind of thrown in for the effects, trying to kind of cook something up. And as far as like budgeting the power, I wasn't like really sure what would be reasonable. I was like thinking maybe 45, but I could see like an argument of like sitting at like maybe 35 or 4K. And maybe I could maybe also see the argument of like making it a continuous, like having that power as long as like the power's within reason and it doesn't just sits out giant for because just because reasons, and then just like your opponent just can't get over a 1-0.
Yeah. All right. Here's some weirdness that does actually maybe throw this back into possible territory. The Himeno that has the pay one rest other guy thing is during the turn it's played, so you only get the one instance of that. And we know from like level 3 cards that is a like that kind of multiplier is pretty significant. So the fact that this is loopable may actually justify that ability costing an insane amount of power out of it. Which
So maybe it is okay.
Maybe I think it is. Yeah, like that's the thing, right? Like this is a card where it's like it feels fine the way it is. Like it's crazy that this feels fine, but because of the fact that this is a really hard condition to actually like square away for your set because you don't have like easy access to the event early game necessarily, despite the insane amount of filtering this set has, it doesn't have a way just to like grab this directly somehow, which is impressive. And it has no level swap despite having like experience conditions to meet, which is rough. That's some older style Weissing, which kind of balances out to make this work. Like God. Also, the Himeno is like does that and grabs you like 2 cards because she's like salvage too. Because she's also a pitch. So that isn't actually the Himeno version of the effect. This is some other reverser effect. Anyway.
God, whose turn is it to read even?
Yours, I think.
It's me. God dang it. All right. Midori, rocket on stage. It's a 1-0. It can't side attack, and it gains 1,000 power for each color of characters on your stage.
She gets to like 9-5. Oh, that's so cute. It's Kishibe.
It's Kishibe. Woohoo!
This card can't possibly be budgeted, right? Like that can't be 500. That has to be at least 1K.
Well, if it can't side attack, that puts it at 6K base. So this is a 1,500 power.
It's a 1,500 power effect. Oh my God. Maybe that I don't even know because like 1,000 power per other character is like 2K, but for color, this is like some Bang Dream ass card has this. I'm sure.
You're probably right, actually.
Hold on. I'm gonna break out the fucking abacus. This is insane. This card is actually insane for this situation. Why is this just better Kishibe?
It's not.
But like it kind of okay. You're right. To be fair, you can't like triple wallet and have it sit at like big. You have like one lane of this that gets to be like 8-5.
This is 500 power weaker than Kishibe, and you have to have like the other 4 colors in your backstage.
It does. So like, God, it you know, at base it is a 5,500 that can't side. Once you have 2 other colors on stage, it is a 7,500 that can't side.
Yeah.
God.
Wait a minute. I mean, most things are going to be able to clear that anyway.
True. That is true.
I don't know. It's just a big bingus. It's all it is.
Yeah. That's a big bingus.
Why would you play this when you could play the freaking Axle that kills things and salvages? Yeah, or like play your clock bomb that also hand filters you. I don't know. Like this card has implications, but like no. She's cute at least. She's not getting a D because I like Midori, but like no. Nah.
The only thing I will say is that this card was for the purpose of flavor. I think it'd be pretty neat to give something power based on how many colors you have. But yeah,
it's neat.
I mean, and this is one of the very few cards that I pulled fan art of Guitar Hero, which is very scarce, I will say. And by fan art, I mean like actually good fan art, and not just like fucking like middle school level like drawing kind of deal.
Yeah, MS Paint, DeviantArt bullshit.
Yeah.
I can't actually find a reference for this card. I was just gonna leave it and call it. Next up.
All right, so we have Shirley Crowley Awards Show. If you have another character with Marcus, Fred Shredder, Matty Cans, or Ricky Lee and its card name, this card gets plus 1500 power. And then auto ability, pay 1 during the turn that this card is placed on stage from your hand. When this card's battle opponent becomes reversed, you may pay the cost. If you do, clock kick. This is based off of a Medusa from Heaven's Feel, because there's a Medusa that like gets power if you have a Sakura character on your board, and then literally same cost, clock kick if you reverse him, just pay 1. Basically just generic off finisher, just something to have, it exists.
Notably, this card, it's actually the next card we're going to talk about. So, like, if you're playing with the other crazy guys, the Marcus and the Maddie and the Ricky, it gets to be big. This card has a Brainstormer that can give it another 1k, so it can sit at 12-5, 13-5 with a climax. I think if there's a trial deck for this set, this is like one of the level 3 cards in the trial deck for sure.
Oh yeah, this is your off finisher level 3, yeah.
Yeah, and the Brainstorm also power pumps the level 1 Shirley. It's like the Hololive thing. You have a card that makes your level 1 combo stronger and a card that pumps your off finisher. This card's just good. If you need an off finisher, you can play this. I haven't tested it yet. I think the red one is more interesting because it just is more interesting, but this card's like just generically good. You just kick the character facing at the clock. It's just always going to be uncancelable damage. Not much to say about it. It's good. I like it.
What's funny is there are ways that you can push this level 3 effect further, because you also have the version where it's just reveal top to get that effect. You could do that. You could just have it on play reveal top Guitar Hero character, and then you still have stock to play your like finisher stuff. Anyway, Brainstormer. This is a TD Brainstormer.
I think there's better Brainstormers in this set, but the fact that this can pump your level 1 combo and your off finisher, I don't want to give it the plus. It's the point is you might actually consider playing this in a Guitar Hero deck if you're playing the bar level 1 combo and the Shirley off finisher, because it just makes them both stronger.
And maybe because it gets events.
That too, yeah.
It does work. Moving on.
All right, this is the Shirley the Casey I was talking about earlier. If you have a Climax with bag and its trigger icon in your Climax area, this card gets bag trigger in all zones. Woohoo! So you can trigger more bags. And then Climax combo with Warrior Transformation. So again, this is any version of the Warrior Transformation. On attack, if you have another Guitar Hero character, you can mill 2, choose a level X or lower character in your waiting room, return it to hand. And then if Warrior Casey was put into waiting room by her effect, you can choose to add the Warrior Casey to your hand. And if you do, discard a card. So this is just like the Anya combo from Spy Family, right?
The yellow one?
No, the green one.
The green one's Tornado. This isn't quite Tornado.
Desmond, what is this? Come on, help us out.
Honestly, this is another experimental card. I kind of just threw in together.
I thought it'd be okay. All right. Okay, even needing another character, I don't think this is a 500 power combo, is it? You have the payoff of if you mill the case, you get to ditch one at it as well.
Right,
so
yeah,
you get
it's cigarettes and it has the extra effect, so it probably needs to be like, and also because it's a level 0 versus a level 1, apparently there's debate on whether or not that actually makes a difference. And also the climax with bag and its trigger icon in your climax area, this card gets back in all your zones. Because it's not naming a specific climax, this card is horribly off spec actually. This card's actually horrendously off spec. Oh god.
Is the bag thing like, how much power does that usually cost?
I think we have the Nikkei cards for reference, but I think it's like 1500 or 2k.
Oof.
Thanks, Nikkei. The one thing Nikkei is good for. That's including
Imagine
the main
getting
game.
Rewarded.
Imagine getting rewarded. Yeah, it's the neon. She has the search helmet thing, which is a 500. So yeah, it's a 1500 effect to do that generically, which means that this card would need to be at least 1k, if not 500. At that point, you don't make this an on-attack combo. You just make it a back row combo, which would be terrifying with Warrior Transformation, actually. So it probably should be on attack to balance it.
Jesus, yeah. Imagine just having this in your backstage, just be like, all right, cool. I'm gonna play my choice and triple Johnny. Oh, cool, I get to do a cigarettes on top of that.
You play it with standby. You don't play a level 1 combo. You just play level 1 cards.
Yeah,
You have
we Seven Deadly Sins now, boys.
Yeah. God. This card's terrible. This card is. God.
Needless to say, I have not brewed with this card yet. I don't. Who knows? I don't know.
I don't know. Yeah, I mean, yeah, it's just one of those experimental cards. Hopefully, it might work out, or it might just be absolute terribly. It might just be terrible. But yeah, I figured just make some like level 0 climax combo.
Ah. God. We can't let them have this. We cannot let them have this as a back row combo.
As
God.
Sukuna once said, "Stand ashamed, you can't cook."
Oh
Okay.
boy.
All right, moving on. You're satisfied. It's more Shirley.
Speaking of, this is a meme card right here.
So cute.
Yep. So Shirley Crowley phone call. When this card is on the stage, this card gets phone trait. When this card is placed on the stage from your hand, choose one of your other characters. That character gets 1500 power and phone trait until end of turn. This is just Sasha from AOT with the freaking meat. It's literally just a meat card.
Bro, that card wasn't playable in AOT set 1.
This is one of those pack filler cards. I was just like, you know what, we're doing pack fillers here. You know what, we'll make a meme card here. I figured this was appropriate.
Yep, it's appropriate.
Man, if this said choose one of your other trait and get 1500 in phone, or choose one of your trait characters gets 1500 in phone, and then it's like a card that could swing in. I don't know.
I mean,
Okay.
if you want to if you need an on reverse, give somebody 1500 and phone.
Yeah, what needs on reverse in this that you would like play into in this set right now?
I guess the demigod.
So just the
give
like
him the
level
phone.
3.
Give him the almighty legendary phone.
Call for you, sir. Shirley Crowley shows up.
This set doesn't really need reverses at all, except for some of those like level 1 cards. But
yeah, this set doesn't have coronet combo to abuse them with, so yeah, it's just fine. Yeah, it's fine.
Last thing I'll probably say is that this screenshot is near the end of Marcus's story mode. The ending cutscene for his story is that he basically becomes the best guitarist there is, and he's like in his throne and all of that, and he's sitting in his chair, and then like he sees that he gets a phone call from Shirley. This phone call she's doing, this is when she gets that new contract from Lou. So that award show card that we just talked about earlier, basically that happens, and then this is what follows up after the award when she wins the award show.
Okay, interesting. This is a 2K backup. We don't have to read this.
Yeah.
Yes, that's true. We don't.
It's just one of the backups of all time.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's fine.
Look, the fact that Bocchi has like this profile at bottom deck it to give another 500 means this card is like completely invalidated. But hey, if you need a 1-0 counter, you can play it.
Bottom decking things has come up in the past. That it is not a non-zero drawback. Man, all right.
Yeah.
Next.
All right, so this one's yours, right, JB?
I guess it is. This is Ozzy Osbourne. Right. You know him. If you have 4 more of the Guitar Hero characters, this card gets 6,000 power when it's placed on stage. If you have 2 or more Guitar Hero characters, you may draw 2. If you do, pitch 2. And when it's placed on stage, you have 4 more of the characters. You may choose a Guitar Hero character in your winning room, put into your stock. We know this profile. We love this profile. The Umi Neko one that we talked about the other day is kind of funny. And that one little tweak those 2 little tweaks that it made it like a 12K. But this is still perfectly fine.
What card is this actually?
I based this card off of Yuri from Overlord.
Okay, sure.
Yuri from
Overlord.
Okay. The one that I always think of is the Dal Set 2 one, because that was the set that I bought in that had this card.
Right, yeah.
Funny enough, also Dio has this card too.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, Dio
cool.
does. Kono Dioda.
I haven't found space for this card on any of my lists, but in theory, it's good. You can effectively play it for free, and you just get to draw 2, ditch 2, and it can actually kill things because 10k cross turn. I don't know. It's probably like here. If you can find space for it, you play it. But I think the problem is because it's level 2, there's a few other level 2s you'd probably want to try playing before this, or like not level 2s, but like early plays maybe. Yeah. All right. This card is Shirley Crowley backstage. She's a 2/1. If you have the star power activate in your level, this card gets 500 power and hand encore. And then when she attacks, if she's facing a level 3 or higher card, she gets 6,000 power. Again, like this being a 13k against threes is pretty good. Having the encore is pretty incidental. Again, this is like if you play this, if you need it. This is just like Emir, right? The Emir promo.
I based this off of Sokka from Avatar.
There's a Sokka
okay.
that does this.
Yeah, because Sokka is a experience condition to get those abilities.
If your total experience in your level is 5 or higher, which is on a level 2, that is a 3x. So he's paying 500 for that. Because the specific name and level experience thing is variable, this actually is fractionally off budget. Because it is not a full 3x multiplier at level 2. If it was 6,500, got 1,500 power, and traitless encore, it would be on budget.
Does it currently have traitless encore?
Yeah.
Yeah, traitless encore.
It could go 2k if it had traded encore on it.
Yeah, I was gonna say what you could do is you could just make this like, if you have the experience, you give it like 500 and trade it encore or some other stuff. Because like the Emir is, if you have 2 or more other characters, it gets 500 and traded encore. It's even easier than this to get.
Yeah, I mean, this is the issue because it's a 2.5 multi to have specific name and level on a level 2. So it needs to be like pay 1k to like leave it at an even number of power. Otherwise, this sits at like 7250 or something. I don't even know. It's fractional and it's hell. It's fine. Last card, and it's an event.
All right, cool. I get to get this one. All right. This one's going to be a doozy because I definitely have a fun fact for this one. Level 3 event, Sudden Death. All right, deal X damage to all players and put all players' characters into their waiting rooms. X is equal to the number of colors your characters have in your stage. All right, so the art behind this card is the cover art to the Megadeth song Sudden Death. So Sudden Death was actually produced exclusively for the game. And then it wasn't until believe almost like close to 3 years later in 2013, when they released their next album, they actually put Sudden Death within that album. And I believe that the name of that album was 13.
Yep. I was going to ask about that because I was on Wikipedia looking at Warriors of Rock and I was just looking at that. That's cool. I like that. You just got the single artwork up here.
But yeah, and this is a completely original, kind of in a way, an original ability that I just made up. Just kind of thought, kind of to fit on theme with the name. I figured, hey, deal a bunch of damage, if you can set up your colors, and then just nuke the whole freaking board, basically.
Yeah.
So it's basically a double-edged sword, more or less.
I think pay 3 is probably the right place for it because here's the scary bit, right? There is a sweet spot on the damage that's going to vary for like games to game and deck state to deck state. But also because it's an event, you do it at the start of your turn, clear your board, and then you play your other stuff. And now you have empty board to swing into, so you don't need to like go ham. You can just play like one sole guy swing in, do like 2 to 3 with direct attacks, and call it game. This card feels like it'd actually be pretty good. Like play it as like a 1 of or 2 of in like a green deck.
You know what? I'm looking something up really quick.
I almost thought about making a cost 4.
There's a cost 4 event in Batman Ninja that is deal 4 to both players and then send one of your opponent's level 3 characters to waiting room. Level 3 lower characters to waiting room. And that was in Batman Ninja.
There is an event in Overlord. You pay 3 for it, and you get to do one of the following effects. You can either burn 2, heal 2, and then memory this card, or choose one of your characters and it gets 8k cross turn.
Huh.
So that's like a 3-cost event for that. 7 Deadly Sins has this level 3 event, which is for 1 stock. You can choose one of your opponent's level 3 or lower characters and send it to their memory. So if you play 3 of it, you can memory 3 of their characters. And then, of course, I would be remiss if I didn't mention the Demon Bloodsword, which is a 2-1 event that you sack one of your characters to bounce 2 of your opponent's characters. So this probably should be a 4-cost event because you're burning for X and you're killing... Well, maybe not, because you're killing all your characters, too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the fact it's double-sided, right?
Yeah, maybe 3 is okay for this, then.
Yeah, Because
Plus, you can also lose off the card yourself as well.
yeah, you can absolutely like kill yourself with this. Unfortunately.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh wait, both players take the damage, right?
Yeah.
Correct. Yes, it's both players.
I
Yeah,
forgot
that's why.
about that.
Yeah,
Yeah, no,
that's why it's
yeah.
sudden death.
It is sudden death. Final round.
Mhm.
That's not the right music.
Batman-
Also, the song also was nominated for the Grammys back in the day.
Ah,
So the Batman Ninja event is 4 to both players,
deal 4 to both and kill one of your opponent's characters.
and it's 4 cost.
Forecast.
Okay, so weirdly, Bushiroad tends to actually cost burn 4 and burn 2 about the same nowadays. I don't know why that is, but they've been doing it like the Soul in Guilty Gear was a pay 1, ditch 1, burn 4. Like the
Yeah.
Thanos was a pay 3, ditch 2 on attack, burn 4, but then inexplicably in Ari Ferreira, it was like pay 3, ditch 2, burn 3. I guess it was because that character didn't require a character conditioner. The point is, it's been modular the way they cost these burn effects. So like a
And then
4
you also
stock
have
for
Euro
a
that's just pay 1.
yeah, on combo, yeah. So like the pay 4 burn 4 straight to both versus this is pay 3 to modularly deal 1 to 5, but probably you're going to be dealing more. I don't know. It's either correctly costed or it's like 1 cost lower, but even then like you're playing it for the same thing. You're playing it to nuke both players' boards so you don't have to interact with their stuff at level 3. You just got to hope to God this doesn't kill you.
Basically, yep.
Yeah.
There were lists where I was thinking about sleeving this. So, oops, my box moved. I'm gonna give it a C plus. I think because it can destroy your opponent's board. This gets around stuff like Mash. It gets around stuff like Sora, Slime if they're playing the Shuna.
Overlord dies to this.
Yep. You just get rid of everything on board. And yeah, you have to lose your own board for it. But like JB said, if you hit that burn on your opponent, you can just put whatever out there and swing direct and probably be fine.
Because you could also do this like start of your turn. This is like fucking Dark Hole, right? Start of your turn, do this.
Yeah.
You have like 1 or 2 characters in backstage because your opponent cleared out the rest of your stage already. So like you deal 2 damage to both of you, and then you just go into a normal turn with guys. Like, it could do so good.
Yeah.
Especially if you end up playing like bag choice. Yeah. All right. Well, that's green for you. Tune in next time where we stop talking about waifus or we start talking about red. Till next time. Peace.